So I want to talk a little bit about you said you're an author, you've written a book. You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, I wrote a book. I am not a ruthless mercenary here, but I got my merch. This
Nice.
is The Year of the Tsunami, and I published it on the Wandering Bohemian Press, November 2022. And that's a book that took about 4 years to realize and to complete and to go through all kinds of steps. I was originally determined to get published in the traditional way, meaning with a major publisher. You know, I was looking for an agent. I was working with editor after editor, and it was a very long and painstaking process. And I don't want to say it's like a bad memory or anything, but I wouldn't want to go back to sitting in front of a computer and writing a book, at least not at this point in my life when music is just popping right now. But I'm proud of that accomplishment. I still do book talks. This book has been placed in some bookstores in the Netherlands as well. Where I travel there usually once a year. And so this is a book that is based on, the second half of it is set in Amsterdam. So there's some cultural ties to the Netherlands. And it's a book that just, it's international. And it sort of represents the part of my life when I was living overseas or traveling continuously. You know, now I'm an old married person. I don't necessarily travel as much as I used to. But in my 20s, I lived in Thailand and also had traveled to New Zealand as well and spent a good 5 years in the Asia Pacific. And so that's where the roots of the book had started. Over the period of, 1 to 4 years, in the middle section, then Amsterdam became the focus. And at the age of 40, I had also undergone a conversion to Judaism. And so there's a strong Jewish theme in the book as well. And so it's about a traveler who ends up in the Netherlands working as a scribe, and he wants to scribe a Torah to honor his grandparents who had narrowly escaped the Holocaust and had been living in the Netherlands in Amsterdam in their life as well during World War II. And so there's some historical fiction going on there, but it's kind of like I take some really serious subjects like Judaism and the Holocaust, but I also bring this sort of hip and fresh, if not slightly irreverent take. So you might say that the book is a little bit, eclectic. I think that one of my early critics of the book had said that it was a little bit incongruous, because you had the red light district of Amsterdam, but you also had these sacred sort of settings in a synagogue where this guy who goes to the red light district in his free time also is scribing a sacred Torah for his grandparents who had narrowly escaped the Holocaust. So there's a lot of, different themes in that book, but I'm proud of it because it's eclectic and it represents my life because, my life isn't necessarily perfect, and I've had a chance to maybe to see a lot of different things in my travels around the world. And you got to just take the good, the bad, and the ugly and just try to make art. That's what I always say.
That's the thing is I imagine I imagine there's a lot of it that story it's coming from your personal experience and stuff. And so the story is being told through your lens, and that's kind of what makes it your unique take. And so, that's the kind of thing with harsh critics is it seems like they're kind of resistant to anything that's, I guess, out of the norm. But I still think that it's amazing. I mean, I know you said it wasn't like the most, I don't know, gratifying experience or something, but just the fact that you finished it is just a big thing. I think that's not a small project, and the fact that you got a book there to hold is just really inspiring and
Thank
really
you.
a cool thing. I've never had the drive to write a book. I've always been more of a visual person. I've thought about writing a screenplay or something like that before, but
Well, if you ever want to write a screenplay, I'll give you the
there
raw
you
material.
go.